In this video we are looking at these, the brand new Saucony Endorphin Speed number 3. What is up everybody, and welcome back to a very excited FORDY runs. Now why am I excited? Well, it looks like they may have updated Speed 3 to make it a little bit more stable, which is great news for all those people who suffered with the first and second version being too unstable. Yes, it looks good. Now this is a first impressions video. We've just done one run in the shoe, 13 miles, but I wanted to give you my first impressions straight after the run. I've literally just showered and sitting down and talking to the camera because there's some interesting feedback on the changes that they've made to the shoe, and I wanted to share that with you. Before we get into further videos, we'll do like a 50-mile-ish review. We'll do a versus 1 and 2 video, and we'll also put it up against the Pro 3 because we got the Pro 3. But yeah, so the point of this video really is to give you my first impressions on the changes that they made to the shoe after that initial run. Right, so firstly I've got to do a bit of a thank you actually, because you guys have been incredible over the years and thanking me for getting you into the Speed shoe. I've been a big fan of the Saucony Endorphin Speed, saying it's the best shoe that money can buy, and you guys have always thanked me for that. You're always still commenting now actually on Instagram about the Speed shoe, the fact that you saw the review that we did and that got you to buy the shoe, and you've loved it ever since. So thanks very much for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, right, so let's do a sort of a quick overview of the changes they've made, and then we'll come on to how it feels and all that sort of stuff. I'll put the weights up on the screen. It's probably easier than trying to do it on the scales because I cocked that up when we did the Alpha Flight 2 video. Firstly, the big change on the upper is the fact they've got rid of the dual layer up, and they've gone to a more traditional mesh upper on this shoe, which is a little bit thicker, but it's added a little bit more sort of structure to the upper, which is good news as we look to this shoe to add some structure and stability to help those sort of wobbling around issues that we've had in the previous version. So the new upper is definitely a positive. We've got a brand new heel counter on the shoe, which is good news. It's quite hard, I would say, at the back, and adds some rigidity at the back, which is good news. I would say I noticed it when I put the shoe on, and for the first couple of miles, I did notice it at the back. You'll see there's like that big overlay, and it definitely felt more intrusive than version 2, but it did ease off over the run. But it will be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks whether that does really ease off and sort of molds to my foot, or whether it stays noticeable on the rear end. Next big update is on the outsole. We've got and I don't know whether this is confirmed, but it's that, what is it, the XT900, I might get that wrong, let me know in the comments, the new carbon rubber that was on the run shield. One of the big issues of the Endorphin lineup was the outsole. In greasy conditions they're useless, but it looks like they've updated the outsole. They've put more sort of rubber in different areas, which is good news, but it's hot and warm over here, and today's run was dry, so I can't comment how they are in the greasy conditions. Obviously we will come on to that. Hopefully you can see I've cleaned these, but it's a little bit dirty there. Can you see that, where you've got like a block that's been created? It's very similar to the Tempest in terms of what's the best, yeah, it's like a block. See that there? But it's not a different material. That's the reason I wanted to point it out, because you may notice that. But it's not a different material. It's still Power Run PB, but they've created that element there. Again, it's all about trying to add some form of stability and bulk to the shoe to sort of ride out some of those instability issues. But the outsole definitely looks improved, felt improved today, but I can't comment how it was on those greasy conditions. So this shoe keeps the secret sauce, the Power Run PB midsole, the PB-based midsole. They have, if you look, built up the sides of the shoe. See that? so you sort of sit in it a little bit, again adding that sort of not stability or guide rails, but they've definitely thought about it when designing it. They've built up the walls each side to give you a little bit more stability, but I think also to help you with that lateral movement with the speed roll technology, which this keeps. Now that speed roll technology is to promote that heel to toe transition and really to move you through the shoe, and you can really feel that rocker as you go through, combined with the Power Run PB midsole and the plate, the nylon plate. We'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, so we keep the Power Run PB midsole, that's unchanged, although they have played around with the geometry of the shoe apparently, and it just, I mean, I don't really notice it, but it just feels alive, this shoe, from heel to toe in terms of transition, and the bounce off the Power Run PB is incredible. If you've just been running in a pair of Asics for the last 10 years, this shoe's going to be like you've landed on the moon and found a pot of gold. It's just awesome. Okay, so the plate, we've got an S-shaped plate, but the biggest, a new shape by the way, but the biggest change is the fact it's a winged plate. So we've got like these wings sticking out here. See it there? See it there? Yeah. Now, it's a nylon plate, TPU plate. So that's plastic basically, people. It's not carbon, is what I'm trying to say, because that carbon plate is quite rigid. But if you look, you've got some flex on the shoe. But the wings, again, create a little bit of stability, yes. Now there's, you add that to what I'm going to talk about next, and that's why I'm so excited about the shoe. But yeah, we've got a little bit of wing action going on, again, and it's promoting that sort of lateral movement and trying to stop some of this moving around that you get with the Power Run PB. Yeah, so the next exciting bit is that they've increased the width in the heel section. Yeah, now what does that mean? It's a little bit more stable, yeah, by giving a little bit more width in the heel, when you're doing all sorts of speeds, which you can do in the Speed 3, because it is more focused on being a daily trainer up-tempo shoe that you can literally take from everyday work to race day. By increasing the width, they've given it more versatility for more people, because it won't be as unstable as the previous version. Now what is interesting, I didn't mention this already, but they've this has got a separate tooling to the Pro 3. So before there was sort of very similar, which one do you go with? But they've tried to separate them quite a lot, the Pro 3 and the Speed 3. If you look at the Pro 3, it looks a lot different. They've really racked up the, cranked up the stack of the shoe, and they've made it definitely more super shoe looking to differentiate it between the Speed 3. So you can effectively buy both, although you wouldn't. But they have tried to create, really sort of pulled them apart in terms of the offerings of both. This is definitely more towards that daily trainer all the way through to race day in terms of versatility, versus the Pro, which is more sort of super shoe, and what it's aimed at being a super shoe. Although, cheeky little thing, you probably could use that also as a bit of a daily trainer. Now price wise, I've seen this from £150 up to £165. I'm guessing it's going to come somewhere in there in terms of the sweet spot. Release date, July to August, who knows. It's been delayed like most of the shoes out there. In the US it's definitely coming in August, but over here in the UK I'm not 100% sure on the dates, but expect somewhere, I would say, in July. Although I've seen it on some websites popping up, so you may be able to grab it early. The shoe retains an 8mm drop. I'm just trying to think what else there is about the shoe before we get on to finally how it felt today. No, I think that's probably about it. Okay, so on today's run, the shoe felt just like a Speed. It just felt awesome, but it did feel a little bit more stable. It was noticeable actually, especially at those lower paces. It definitely felt a little bit more stable. Now it might be my imagination, right, because I was excited about, oh, is this stable or not, but it just felt a little bit more stable. It really felt bouncy. It really felt like a Speed in terms of that heel to toe transition with the Power Run PB, the speed roll, the plate, and everything that makes the Endorphin Speed shoe the best shoe out there. But it was noticeably more stable, and I just think, oh, they've killed it. They've really nailed it with this. They really have. This, yeah, this remains. I can't. Well, no. Let's go back a step. They haven't ruined the shoe. That's the most important thing. There is always that sort of temptation to over-engineer a shoe, especially when it's so good. But they haven't done that. They haven't made drastic changes that negatively affect the shoe. What they've done is they've addressed some of the issues that people have obviously fed back to them about the stability, and in today's just initial run it definitely felt more stable. Okay, so first impressions, they've nailed it. But it is only first impressions, people. So we're going to live with the shoe and report back. But like I said, all I can say after that initial run is it maintains the speed. It maintains that awesome feeling of just bounce and propulsion. It maintains that feeling of lightness. And just, yeah, it just makes you feel awesome. And with the added improvement of increasing that stability at the rear end. So everything at the moment looks very, very promising. And I think you need to get excited about the Speed 3 if you're a big fan of Speed 1 or 2. But like I said, this is only a first impression, people. So hopefully today, by giving you some of the changes they've made and talking through some of that, that's helped a little bit. We're now going to live with the shoe. We're going to put more miles through the shoe. Yes, we'll do the versus videos. We'll check those out. So hopefully that helps as well. But yeah, and then we'll come back in a week or two, because I'm averaging about 40 miles at the moment. That's going to increase to 50 miles real soon. So we'll be able to come back in a couple of weeks and give you some more feedback on the shoe in terms of how it's been to live with, which I think is really, really important. But yeah, first impressions is that they've absolutely nailed it. They really have. This is just an unbelievable shoe. If you can only buy one shoe, right, people, it still is the Saucony Endorphin Speed 1, 2 or 3.